So Dallas is home to the Cowboys, the Mavericks, the Stars, but they're also home to a failed socialist utopia. We're talking about that on this little segment of Stopping Socialism TV. First, before we get to that, we need to say subscribe to our channel. YouTube is not doing us any favors. They're not suggesting our videos for you to check out. So if you want to see more of our videos like this, you have to hit that subscribe button. But anyways, let's get to it. So this is a thing that was mentioned in Glenn Beck's Arguing with Socialists book, which we thought would be a worthy of its own video for us to talk about. But there's a number of these failed attempts at socialism that have happened throughout the world, and one of them happened in our very own Dallas, Texas, or probably in the outskirts or whatever. But I thought it was a particularly good example. So, Justin, should I just read the excerpt out of the book, or should I give the
read the excerpt. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good excerpt.
That's true. When most people think of socialism, they typically don't think of Texas, but perhaps they should. Dallas was once home to one of the most notable socialist experiments in American history. In 1855, Victor Prosper Considerant, which is just a great name for anyone trying to start up a socialist utopia. Victor Prosper, I mean, come on. One of France's most influential democratic socialists, emigrated to Texas with 200 socialist colonists in the hopes of creating a collectivist utopia in the United States, which he called La Réunion. Considerant had spent the better part of his previous 2 decades promoting his grand vision of establishing a network of socialist colonies throughout the Southwest through his French writings, especially Texas, which was published in 1854. He also published The Socialist Dreams in English in The Great West, 1854. At the height of this commune in 1856, about 350 residents had settled in La Réunion. But like with all experiments in socialism, La Réunion soon collapsed, faced difficult weather conditions and a lack of skilled workers. The leaders of La Réunion disbanded the colony in January of 1857, less than 2 years after it started. Should this come as a shock to us, Justin? I mean, it seems like they had a good starting point there.
Yeah, who would have ever thought that a bunch of French socialists wouldn't make it in Texas? Who would have ever dreamed? I think I like the part how he was writing French socialist propaganda for the Southwest in 1850s. It's like, I'm pretty sure that you had like a lot of Spanish speakers and you had like a lot of like roughneck colonists, or like, you know, people from America there. I mean, I don't know why you would think that's a good idea, but I also thought it was kind of interesting how this guy's from France. And he came here, it said, with, you know, a couple hundred or a few hundred other people, presumably from France.
I've got some additional facts to kind of explain that a little bit more.
Okay. So yeah, let's hear a little bit more about that. That I find very curious. I mean, Texas is a long way from France. There was no place between there and Texas that they could find that would be better. I mean,
so check this out. So this is from the Texas State Historical Association. They keep saying his last name, but I would rather call him Victor Prosper. Victor Prosper planned for the colony to be loosely structured communal experiment administrated by a system of direct democracy. The participants would share in the profits according to a formula based on the amount of capital investment and the quantity and quality of the labor performed.
That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so
based on the capital investment, that's interesting.
Yeah, apparently he to buy the land initially, he went through like Europe and was trying to get investments. So apparently, you know, the more that you invested, the more of the income share that you would get. Doesn't seem like the most communist thing in the world.
No, it does not.
And then also, like, you would get money profits based on the amount of or the quantity and quality of your labor performed. It's just like, I don't know. All right. So, anyways, although nearly 2,000 persons had registered to immigrate from Europe, only about 200 French-speaking colonists arrived in Galveston in 1855 and traveled overland from the coast, reaching Dallas in April. So 2,000 people signed up. Only 200 of them actually went along with it.
Like, oh wait, we're going to Texas from France?
Yeah, and then get this. Although many settlers left the colony soon after they had arrived, new arrivals kept the population fairly constant for about 2 years. The number of residents peaked around 350 in the fall of 1856. So there's just constantly people leaving and coming.
We have this like long-standing theme throughout all the shows we've done and for all the presentations and the things we've ever since we got into this whole socialism thing. And that theme is that, historically speaking, it's not even, this is going to sound like this is my opinion. It's really not, though. It's historically speaking, socialists are losers. Like, I mean, can we find one winning society somewhere? Yeah. Just one. Can someone find me a winning socialist society? Like, I hear all these. One of the reasons we brought this up was because if you're involved in reading the truly Marxist people, and you know the hardcore types, Jacobin readers and Democratic Socialists of America and whatever, like the true believers, and you ask, one of the big things that people on the right love to do is they love to say, well, can you show me a success? Show me some success. And what they love to do is they love to point to examples that are, you know, in their minds, like, prove that this works, even though it obviously did not work. And this is one of the ones that they do, like, because it didn't end in bloodshed and people getting massacred. That's like a win. Like, that's a win, right? Like, oh, there was no dictator that massacred people. Like, that's pretty good. We hear about the Paris Commune one all the time too. Like, that's another one of their favorites. Like, that was a total failure as well.
Well, it's fortuitous that you brought that up, because another one of these factoids that I got is that Victor Prosper also took part in the 1871 Paris Commune.
Of course he did. I mean, that's what I mean. These guys are they're all losers ultimately. Like, if you just give it enough time, it fails. Even the ones that are not, because we have a tendency to talk about it, and really this isn't accurate. We shouldn't do this, I think. We have a tendency to talk about socialism as always devolving into tyranny. And that's not true. Sometimes it just falls apart before you ever get to tyranny. Doesn't even make it there. You know, sometimes the wheels on the truck just completely fall off, and, you know, everybody has to get out and wander the desert for a while. I mean, that's how a lot of these societies end up going. It really is that way.
You know, when it comes to like people wanting to do communism or socialism, it's like, go do it. Go set up a commune and try it out. Like, I don't care. As long as you're not forcing me to be in it, go for it. Yeah. So this guy, you know, this Victor Prosper, like, you know, at least I can give him the credit for doing that and not like, you know, pointing a gun to people's heads and forcing them to do it. But like, and additionally, more credit to the guy. He, it almost seemed like he was setting this up as some type of like, I guess, investment, right? He was trying to get people to get involved. We're going to buy land and we're going to set this up. So it's like, awesome. This seems like a business venture more than anything, right? But then as you're going through it, and here, this is also according to the Texas State Historical Association. It says, because of poor soil, unusually severe winters and summers drought, a shortage of participants with necessary skills, and rising prices in Texas, they were unable to succeed in farming. So that caused this thing to really crap out, right? So it's like, if you were planning ahead that you were going to have this like agricultural commune, you're going to pick a place that's got poor soil, and then the people that you're going to bring along with you like can't build a house. Like, it just seems like really poor planning.
It does. And but you know, like you said, I actually think that if there's something positive here, it's that I am all for people having the ability to go off and do this if they want. Like, buy your own property, go off, try to make a commune, go for it. Like, I really don't care. I mean, you do whatever you want.
Right.
And we actually have communes in the United States that are kind of like this. We've got these small little commune type societies. They do exist in various parts of the country, and it's fine. Like, I don't care. Where the problem comes in is when they say, the same people that, you know, can't work a farm, the same people that, you know, can't survive for even 2 years in this colony, like, that they want to now run everything and that they want to control all of society. And it's like, well, wait a minute. No. You guys got to get a working commune in order before I'm even going to like have a conversation with you about anything. So, I mean, it's like when we did the video very recently on the Democratic Socialists of America convention.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean, if you haven't seen that video, go watch that video. We should link to it in the
you should. Oh my God. Like, stop this video and watch that one. It's the best.
I mean, what it shows is that it's I mean, you got to watch it. You got to see it to believe it, because we can't possibly do it justice. The incompetency. But it's essentially what it is. It's just a convention. And all they're trying to do is essentially pass rules for voting at the convention, and then they're voting on things at the convention. And it's just like the most mundane, horrible, you know, experience. Looks so boring.
Oh, it's like,
but it's endlessly fascinating because of how bad they are at it. They're so bad at doing simple things that anyone should be able to. But it proves that direct democracy does not work. It proves that, you know, these people cannot manage society. They can't even manage a convention. They can't even get people to stop clapping. They can't. If you watch it, you'll see it's incredible. And so any of these experiments, they try them, but inevitably they never work. And even if they survive for a while, like even if there's some commune in Vermont somewhere that someone's like, oh, well, there's this farm commune in Vermont that's been around since the 60s. What about that? And it's like, well, great. But it's not thriving. It's probably got 50 people in it or something. It's not like this whole society. So it doesn't work because it's totally contradictory to human nature. And you can put it in Vermont, you can put it in France, you can put it in Texas, you can put it anywhere you want. It's not going to work. So it's just more proof of that.
I've just got this like idea in my head of this Victor Prosper, and like he's just like, you know, probably spent years trying to set up this commune in Texas, and it just like utterly fails. And then he's like, you know, 20 years later, he's in the Paris commune. He's like, this is it. This is where it's really going to succeed. And then that fails like in a couple of months. It's just like, does this guy like die like so sad, or did he just leave? Did he just give up on socialism? Like, that's what I wonder.
Yeah, I wonder that. I wonder that about these people all the time. Like, how much failure can they take before they give up? But the thing about and it's actually a really important point to make about Marxism, is that the thing about the true believers in Marxism is that they don't believe, oh, well, this is the right way forward. And then it's like, it doesn't work. And so then maybe they reevaluate their life. Like, no, they believe this is all inevitable. And so the excuse that they use when it doesn't work is the same excuse as they've been using for 150 years. It's like, well, it's just not time yet. Like, we're still advancing towards this. It's the same excuse. I'm not even making that up. Like, go look in the 1850s, 1870s, early 1900s, late 1900s. They've been making the same excuse for why these things fail over and over and over again. It's either not the right people, or not enough time has gone by. We haven't advanced far enough, and we're eventually going to get there. It's like, how many times can you fail before you realize it's just not a good idea? I mean,
well, that's kind of the thing. Like when we talk about like Marx, and he always seemed to talk about how, like, you know, this is all inevitable. Like, it's just a matter of time before the scales tip, and socialism is just like the way that we go. And, you know, like that's just never happened. Like, all of the things that were supposedly going to get like worse and worse under capitalism that failed to materialize. And it's just, yet people are still promoting this idea, even though it's a constant track record of failure.
Yeah, there really isn't an idea out there, I think. I challenge anyone to find an idea that's been around for as long as this idea has been around, that has been tried as much as this idea has been tried, that has failed as many times as this idea has failed. And yet there are still not like 5 people, because you can always find 5 people that believe just about anything, but millions of people who still think this is a good idea. Like millions of people who are like, yep, this is going to work. Like, we got it. This is the time, you know? And it's like, why doesn't it ever, don't you guys ever just stop and say, maybe the problem is with the idea? No, they don't, though. That's the thing. They never do.
Yeah.
And that is why ultimately they're losers. Because if you can't figure that out after 150 years of trying, then I really don't know what more there is to say about it. I mean, it's like,
yeah, I mean, no, it's a good point. It's like, I always talk about, like, that's not real socialism, right? It's not real socialism. And it's like, if you're like building a house and the house keeps collapsing, at some point you're like, maybe we should start using different blueprints. You know, like,
right. Well, that's exactly right. I mean, at what point, what, but that's the thing, is it's like, they can't see, they believe it is eventually going to work. No matter what, it will eventually work. We just got to keep trying, even though there's no evidence that shows that it is going. There's no reason to believe it's going to work. It's never happened. And yet they just keep thinking, yep, this is the time. This is the time. This is the time. This is the time. And it's amazing to watch this play out over all these years.
Oh, God. All right. Well, that should do it for this segment of Stopping Socialism TV. If you want to see more stuff like this, go to our YouTube page, Stopping Socialism TV, and hit that subscribe button. If you want to see more of our content, you could always go to our website, stoppingsocialism.com. We also share most of our content on Facebook, Stopping Socialism. And we also have a Parler account, Twitter account, and Instagram. So you can find us pretty much on every social media platform. Justin, last words. Where can people find you?
At Justin T. Haskins on Facebook and Twitter.
All right. Thank you all for joining us.